Here we are again, the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. Hooray! And they've got me in a corner. I mean, I've been walking around showing stuff and they've backed me into a corner. But even in corners, you find stuff around here, which is always good stuff. And I'm over here next to Mr. Marvelous. You remember Mr. Marvelous. We talked about him in one of my episodes, or maybe more than one of my episodes. Hi, Mr. Marvelous, how are you? And of course, my Indian chief hat. All the good stuff. I mean, there's stuff everywhere you look. Oh, there's a videotape. I wonder. It's probably not labeled. Oh, look at that. August 3rd of 2007 at 6 p.m. What would have happened? Well, this has to be from Flipper's Fascination, because in August of 07, I was running Flipper's Fascination. So this tape went in at 6 o'clock. And someday I might actually get a chance to play it and see what's on there. Thousands of tapes, thousands. So I don't know. Oh, no, it's not Halloween. Oh, I don't know. Well, here's my mom's hope chest. This was in her bedroom, and it's made of really nice wood. And of course, it's standing on its end for, sake of space. And she used to have stuff in there from when she was a little girl, dreaming of, growing up and probably getting married and things of this nature. So I know it's still filled with whatever was in there because I never took anything out of there. So it's standing here. And someday I might actually open it. We shall see, but I just like knowing that it's there. That's the important part of having stuff. You don't have to have stuff that you play with every minute. You don't have to have stuff that, you have to, dig out and check that it's there. Just that you know it's there is enough to make it special, because it's part of who you are. So your world has not disappeared and the ship hasn't sailed. It's still here. At least in my world, and I hope it is in yours too. It can be in many forms with memories and all kinds of good things like that. But, oh, wait. Here is an I.Q. computer. Now, this goes back before there really were computers, but they were known of. The people knew what computers were. And, they talked about the big computers that were being made by, Sperry Rand companies and all that stuff, the UNIVAC. But here's an I.Q. computer. Now, where would you find I.Q. computers? Well, this is something that was around in the 60s. And you usually found one in the foyer of a diner when you were going to eat in a diner. Now, in New Jersey and New York, there were lots of diners. I know places around the country don't necessarily have diners like that, but in New Jersey's famous for diners, and there was one in particular in Maplewood, Irvington, on the the borderline there, and we always played it. And it was actually like a film. I wouldn't say it was microfilm because it wasn't that small, but you have a screen here. Now, this is not a video monitor. That is just a projection screen. And inside the machine, when you would play, it would light up a question. And it would be trivia. And it would give you, multiple choice, A, B, C, D, or E. And you would have to make your selection by pressing the coordinated button here. You have an A button, a B button, a C button, a D button, and an E button. See that? So you would make your selection, and if you were correct, then you would get score over here on your score readout. And it's a mechanical score readout. Somebody last time got a score of 550, so they did pretty well. And it would tell you if you're incorrect or if you were correct and what the answer was, A, B, C, D, or E. And then your score, of course, maybe it would give you a bonus score for harder questions, maybe a score of 200 or 150, 100 or 50. So you got, looks like 4 questions. Question number 1, 2, 3, and the final question. And if you got them all, you were a genius. It would test your knowledge. You got to pick your category, which this looks like it's an insert. So this would be changeable according to the film. So you could change the film and have a different category group. This had baseball, movies, TV recordings, general knowledge. And what's the first one? General sports. So at the beginning of the game, you would select, and then it would go through the cycle, whatever. What do you have here? Press for the Genius test. So if you think you're a real smart ass, you can press the Genius test, and then it would give you the really hard questions. So the IQ computer, they were typically found in bars, probably bus stops along the way and things like that. And they were fun, and people played it, and they were typically a dime. A dime. One thin dime. So we played it as kids. We were always pretty good. It's something the whole family could gather around, and everybody, guess the questions as a family unit. So you never really found one of these for sale. It was kind of like an odd piece. You didn't see them per se in arcades on the boardwalk. So this one I bought for $50. Can you believe that? Still has its tag on it. Bought him for $50, and he came from Gary Phillips at the Central Arcade in Seaside Heights. He had it in the back. It was a spontaneous purchase. I was there, and I was buying a rifle machine, and I saw the IQ computer back there, and because I knew what an IQ computer was, I had to have it. So I purchased it, and it became part of my collection. Now, why would I pay $50 when it says or best offer? Well, let me explain it to you. If somebody says they want $50 or best offer, it means that you're not necessarily going to get it if you offer them less. Okay? So if I offered him $30, chances are he'd say, all right, well, I'll think about it. Meanwhile, somebody could walk over and say he'll give him $50 and you lose the machine. So why would you not? I mean, if the guy's wanting $50, but he's telling you he'll take a best offer, why would you not just give him the price that he's asking for it? It's a reasonable price. Why do I have to be a chintz and I got to say I'll give you 45 or 49? He wants $50. Okay, it's worth $50 to me, so I pay the $50. I've done this with all things I bought all my life. That's why I have them, because they learned that I wasn't going to be a chintz and go over to them and say, well, look, you want $50, you know what? Look, there's a little rust on the legs over here. It's dusty. It's been sitting there. What are you going to do? I'll give you $30. What kind of insult is that to somebody? $50? Hey, man, I want the machine. $50 is your price. I pay $50. I've had people that I bought machines from back in the day, and they would tell me they want $100. Now, mind you, money's different. It's not like $50 today or $100 today. If they told me they wanted $100 for it, and I felt that was really too low, I'd tell them, I say, hey, that's really too low. This machine's worth way more than $100. How about $200? And I give them $200. Sometimes they wouldn't even take it. They'd say $100. But you know what? I made friends because they realized that I wasn't the guy who was there trying to get over on them or something like that. And they would call me when they had a machine they wanted to sell, whatever. They would call me and they'd say, hey, I got a couple more machines if you're interested. You want to stop by? I'm like, absolutely. So I'll stop down. And that's how I got them, because I was fair and I was decent with people. So you don't have to be always looking for the best deal. If you want it, pay for it. That's what it's about. If if I offered him less and he said, okay, I'll think about it, and I walked away, then I'd have to worry. Somebody's going to come over and they're going to buy it before I get it. What do I need that for? I need to worry about it? I want the machine. I know I want the machine. Okay, if I got the money, I pay the money. If I didn't have the money, that might be another story. I'd say, gee, it's worth it. I would say, I only have 40. Can I owe you 10? Or something like that. And most times they would say, oh, well, don't worry about the 10 or something like that. But I mean, I would never even say that unless I really didn't have the money with me or had the access to give them the money. So I would buy things, I would pay for it. So, I mean, when people try to offer you less, I really don't even want to talk to them. I very rarely sell anything. But when somebody wants to offer you less money for something, right then and there, I'd rather not sell it to them. Because you know what? They're not buying the machine because they want the machine. They're buying the machine because they want it, but they also want to get it cheap and they want to get it over on you. You know how many times people buy stuff and then, particularly today with the internet, they go online and they say, oh, look at today's score. I picked this up. I paid $300 for it. Ka-ching! Just like, those pawn people or, those antique dealers that ride around the country on these TV shows and they try to wheel and deal, and that's part of the show, and they get the item, and then at the end of the show, they'll tell you, well, I bought this for $300, but I'm going to sell it in my store for $1,250. Ka-ching! That's an $850 profit. Ka-ching! Well, what does that make the poor sap who sold that to you too cheap? Sucker! That's what it is. It's like a slap in the face. They knew I wasn't buying stuff to resell it and make a profit on them and take their good graces and make money on it. They knew I was buying it because I was going to preserve it, and they didn't mind selling to me because, you know what? I wasn't looking to use anybody, and that's how I got so much stuff. So when it says $50 the best offer, you pay $50 if you want the machine. Don't even waste your time, or the guys, make him happy. He wants $50, give him $50. That's the Randy philosophy, and that's the way to get stuff. Honest and truly, I'm not telling you a lie. So what did it cost you? So you didn't go to McDonald's. So you say, fine, stay home and eat your dinner. And even things like this, please do not talk to an announcer. Well, that wasn't a control booth that I ever sat in because people always came over and talked to me, and I always would speak to them, even though it was a distraction to me operating the game and paying attention to what's going on. I still had the courtesy to talk to people because I'm a decent human being. But here, this is a fascination control booth that says, please do not talk to an announcer. Also, it says, sorry, no bonus wins under 10 players. And again, please do not talk to an announcer. This is a fascination control booth from Kennywood Park in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania. So, no bonus wins under 10 players. Well, what do they mean by that? Well, typically Fascination has a bonus line or two or more, and if it's in the glass, you can't really do anything about that. I mean, the standard Fascination machines like they had a gold line and a red line, and typically they paid extra for winning on the gold or the red line. Well, economically, you cannot pay extra bonuses when you don't have enough people playing that's income for the game that's being run. And when there's less people playing, the chances of them getting the bonus line increases because the game increases in time length of play because nobody's there to beat you, and chances are better that they're going to be able to get the bonus line and not get beat out by somebody else. So when you have less than 10 players, they can't afford to pay extra bonus line payouts and have more probability of you getting the bonus line, so they established a policy, no bonus wins under 10 players. And that's the way it was. And if you played there, you played by their rules. In my place, typically, the bonus line was still a bonus line. It might not be as big a bonus as it would be that I would offer if there were 40 people playing, but it's a bonus line. So there's 2 people playing and you get the bonus line. Okay, so you know what? I actually lost money on that game. I gave out more than I took in. Okay, you know what? I'm not a chintz. I'm a bad businessman, I'll admit that, but I always try to do what's fair and right. I always look at things from the player's point of view. So when I was a kid playing, I wanted to get bonus lines. It didn't matter how many people playing. I really didn't pay attention to how much money they were taking in. I tried to get the bonus line. So I still operate that way. I still do today. No bonus lines under 10 players? Can't do that. I remember in Keensburg, Phil Kessel used to say, full prize, all lines, players, full prize, all lines. Well, that meant no more bonus lines. Nice way of putting it. You're getting the full prize. Well, that means you're getting the regular prize, no bonus lines. So it's not an unusual thing, but it's part of what it is. So the sign remains on the control booth, but I never sat in that control booth and ran Fascination because the sign wouldn't be able to be there if that was the case. So it's a piece of history for me because it came from Kennywood Park. and I have the Kennywood tables. I have 2 sets of Kennywood tables. So I can't put them here in front of the control booth because the I.Q computer is here. I need more space. I need a couple 100,000 square feet so I can set everything up nice, and it can live on, documented where it came from. Each item has its story, and another story in another episode for the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. And that's where we end today, with another great ending. So you can be with us again next week for another great episode about stuff, because I got stuff. If there's one thing I got stuff. And I remember the stories that go with it, and I'm sharing them with you. So tell your friends so everybody can watch and enjoy the next fun-filled, action-packed episode of the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel right here. Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.